Quazi here. In today's video, I want to share with you how you can create quantum events, meaning how you can shift to a different reality, a completely different reality from the one that you're experiencing right now. In order to do this, you need to understand the two main control functions that we possess, which is what I'm going to share with you here. But before we do that, we have to understand why our current reality is the way that it is and what we can do right now to make a shift. Instead of trying to change something in our current reality, we have to shift our focus to choosing a completely new one. This has been the subject of my study for the last 8 years, and I'm super excited to share this with you. So with that, let's jump right in. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Quazi Johir. I'm the founder of realitycreator.com, where our mission is to help every single human being on earth to master their destinies. But in order to master your destiny, there's a misconception that people have to take action and force themselves to do something they don't want to do. But in reality, to create the reality that you want, you have to first get into alignment with your core desire, your heart's desire, and then shift into who you were meant to be. Most people are being someone that they're not. So over the last 5 years, we have worked with clients from all over the world. I've worked with over 1,000 clients, and we've helped them shift into their ideal selves. And as a result of them being, the doing naturally follows and the having ensues. Okay? So that's what I want to show you here today, how to be that ideal self. And then as a result of that, the doing becomes a natural consequence. And finally, the reality that you experience, the version of reality that you experience, is just a natural outcome of that. The very first thing that led me to this realization quite recently was this TV show that I was watching. If you watch Apple TV, you know there's this new show called Dark Matter. And in this Dark Matter show, there's this scientist who creates this huge cube and a drug to go along with it, which puts him into a state of superposition. And as soon as he enters this cube, he sees all of these other cubes. The hallway becomes, there's a hallway of other entrances to different realities. What influences which reality he experiences is very simple. What he is thinking and feeling right at that moment, his predominant thought and feeling, is what influences what happens in the door that he opens up. So for example, if he's feeling very thirsty, he opens the door to an barren wasteland with no water in it at all, a complete desert, right? If he's feeling really, really cold, and then he opens the door, he goes to the Arctic tundra where the world is frozen over. It's very, very cold. So by controlling the frequency of his thought and feeling, he's able to step into the reality that he wants. Okay? And the whole reason he does this is to go back into the past so he can get reunited with his ex-partner who he regretted not being with. And so he was able to tap into that frequency of that lifeline where he does end up with that partner and has a kid with them, goes into that reality. And I'm totally spoiling the show for you right now, so just if you want to watch it, don't listen to me. But too long, don't read. What he does is control his thought and feeling to step into the reality that he wants, okay? So what's interesting though is that's exactly what happens in reality. Whatever you're experiencing right now is a consequence of your predominant thoughts and feelings that you feel day-to-day basis. So if you're experiencing something that's unwanted in your life right now, you are drowning in debt, or you're in a job that you hate, and you work these hours that you hate, it's because you keep expressing dissatisfaction more than you express satisfaction. You keep focusing on these feelings of frustration and what you don't want, and more you keep feeling feelings of anxiety, of anger, of frustration, of despair, more than you feel gratitude, love, joy, peace, right? Because of that, you keep experiencing the reality that you don't want. Whatever we focus on is what we experience in our lives, okay? I want you to say this. Whatever I focus on is what I experience in my life. If you keep remembering this, all you have to do is shift your focus, okay? Once you shift your focus, you experience a completely different reality. So what needs to happen fundamentally is we need to attain heart and mind coherence, just like the guy in the cube, right? In Dark Matter. So what heart and mind coherence looks like is what I'm thinking is congruent to how I am feeling. If I feel really, really good about something, I'm most likely thinking something along that line. So if I want to create a reality that is wanted, rather than experiencing a reality that is unwanted. For example, let's say you want to experience freedom in your life. You don't have to go to this job anymore, or your business is thriving. You're no longer stuck in your business. Let's say in your current reality, you are indeed stuck in your business or you're stuck in your job. All you need to do is redirect your thoughts to what a possible reality looks like where you're not stuck in your job, where you're not stuck in your business, and feel the associated good feelings that would come as a result of that. For example, when you're making the amount of money, let's say $30,000, $40,000 a month in your business, you can experience more time with your family. You can experience taking those vacations you've always wanted to take. So you think that thought and you feel those feelings. And visualization is a great way of doing that. But we don't need to do that for this purpose. Anything that gets us into heart and mind coherence is sufficient, even if that means you think it, you feel it, or you say words to yourself. Okay? So the crucial part here is there's an equation that determines what reality we experience. And this equation is simply what plus why plus who equals how and when. When you've tried to switch to a different reality, let's say you want to experience a reality that's completely, starkly different to the current one you're experiencing, what is the first thing people do? They focus on, how am I going to get there? When is it going to happen? How am I going to make that money? How am I going to start that business? How am I going to quit this one? If I quit this one, how am I going to support myself? Oh, my art isn't making money. How am I going to make money with my art? I just can't see a way out of this. How? Oh, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? I've tried for so long, it's not happening. When is it going to happen? When we focus on how and when too prematurely, what happens? Doubt creeps in. What does doubt do? Doubt changes the frequency of our thought and feeling to the lifeline of an unwanted thought and feeling. Just think about that. Doubt switches us from focusing on what we want to focusing on what we don't want. And we get more of what we focus on. If we keep focusing on what we don't want, we get more of what we don't want. What is the what, why, and who? When we focus on what we want rather than what we don't want, we're becoming intellectually clear in the direction that we want to move in. Intellectually mind clear. Thoughts are clear. When we focus on why we want it, what it makes us feel, we're emotionally clear. We're emotionally clear in the direction that we want to move in. When we focus on who we must become, the version of ourselves that we must tap into first to experience that, we become clear at the identity level. We become clear about who we must be at this phase in our lives to experience that. Once there's congruence in what, why, and who, the how and when naturally falls into place without your interference. You'll see that things will happen that are beyond your wildest dreams. Things in your life will happen beyond your wildest dreams just because you simply focus on what you want, why you want it, and who you must become to achieve it. And you just surrender how and when to the universe. So, if we're to get into the parallel reality space of how this is all occurring, if you imagine that there are many different parallel realities, many different realities that could be experienced. There's a reality in which you're here watching this video. There's a reality in which you're taking a vacation right now with your friends, family, spouse, kids, whatever. There's also, all on the same timeline, by the way. Today's date, 2024, it's all happening right now. There's different versions of you in different realities. Okay, this is the many universes theory. So if there are many different versions of you, why are you experiencing this current reality as you are right now? It's because of the what, why, and who. You're embodying a version of yourself that you've unconsciously created based on what you've picked up from your childhood, from what your parents told you, from what society told you, what your friends told you, what you've seen on the news, how you've internalized certain events that have happened. Something bad could have happened, you viewed it as bad, which made you the way that you are, and you believe that, oh, I am this way and not that way. I am socially anxious because I am not confident in public because I can't start a business because... So you have all of these stories that you feed yourself, which has formed your current self. And what's typically happening is you feel frustrated with your life because you're not congruent in what you want and why you want it. Your heart wants something else, but you're telling yourself these stories of, no, but I can't have that because, right? What if there were no longer any of these stories? What if you could have anything that you wanted just because you said so? And that's where these two control functions come in. So before we get to the two control functions that will allow you to take control of your life, we need to understand the film reel and the script. So how reality operates is like a film reel and script. So in these instances of multiple different realities, what's happening? Each of those is a different film reel. So if you imagine you take a projector and you put one film reel in, the light that is illuminating the current frame, it's illuminating a set of these frames, which is called a script. It's following a certain pattern, a certain story is unfolding. This story is determined by what, why, and who. Now, you actually have no control over the script. You have no control over what's happening right now because the present moment is continually becoming past. What you do have control over is which film reel is illuminated. So just think about it this way. We have a current situation and a desired situation, right? Your current situation is here and your desired situation is there. In the middle, the how and when. Whatever happens, that's not your responsibility. That is God or the universe's responsibility. That is Mother Nature's responsibility. It will take you there if you simply trust it and you focus on choosing rather than changing. So from this moment on, I want you to focus on choosing rather than changing. Okay? Go ahead and type this in the comments right now. Choose rather than change. Because anytime you try to change what is, what are you doing? You're in resistance mode. You're fighting against something. Your job isn't going the way that you want, you fight against it. Your partner isn't the way that you want them, you're fighting. You're trying to change them. Anytime you try to change what is, you are immediately focusing on what you don't want, you're fighting. Okay? So I'm going to share with you how you can use attention and intention to shift this scenery, to completely ditch this script and choose something new. The crucial part is it's futile to try and change the script because this present moment, the only way it can be changed is through manipulation. When I physically take action by doing, I can manipulate the scenery of this current scene or this current script. There is no other way, okay? What's more effective is to choose that next moment that's upcoming. As reality creators, we have control over the future events, what we would like to see next, not this current event, because the present moment is continually becoming past. We can't control the past, can't change it, can't change the present. You can change the future. And so that's what we got to focus on right now. So let's get to the two control functions that will allow you to the first mission is to detach from this current script. We're unattaching ourselves from this current script, and then we are attaching ourselves to our desired script. So let's get to that right now. The very first control function that you need to master is what's known as attention. Attention, what it allows you to do, is take a step back from this current script. And what I mean by attention is learning how to center your attention. So I want you to take a moment to reflect on what happens to your attention on a day-to-day basis. You're either very, very fully involved in what's happening internally, aka my thoughts, or you're very, very attached or, consumed by something happening outside, something that you're doing, right? So there's an internal screen that we have and an external screen that we have. We're flip-flopping between the two. We're never in the middle. So the goal to detach from this current script, this current film reel, to take a step back from it, so that we have the potential to choose what happens. The goal is to center ourselves between these two screens. And the only way to center ourselves between these two screens is to watch the two screens at once. We are neither the external screen nor the internal screen. We are the watcher of both. When I've taught my clients to do this, they report it as a feeling as though they are watching themselves in third person and they're watching their reality in third person, okay? So the exercise is to get into a mode of watching and observing. Sort of passive. You're simply watching and observing rather than engaging, judging, manipulating. The action is to watch and observe without judgment. So right now with me, do this. Watch the environment around you and watch the character, this character watching the environment. When you can watch the character while at the same time watching your environment, anything around you, you've already tapped into your center. It's kind of like waking up. So when you wake up in a dream, you gain the power to control that dream. It's called lucid dreaming. What happens when you wake up in reality? What happens when the characters in a movie realize that, wait a second, I'm a character. I'm playing a role in this movie. What happens then? They still have to play along with the script, but they can choose. They now have the choice to sort of make really far projected alterations to the script, aka the future frames, the future reel that unfolds, okay? So that's what I want possible for you. Learning how to unattach yourself from this current script. All you need to do in order to do that is watch the two screens at once, aka I see myself and I see reality. Get into kind of saying that to yourself, but realizing, wait a second, there is a watching. There is an observing of what's happening around me, and that is sufficient. When you've done this, now you're ready to use intention to choose which script you'd like to unfold. But it's very crucial that you first unattach yourself. Okay? On a day-to-day basis, this could be hour to hour. You get in a habit of waking up rather than falling asleep. When you get into a habit of waking up, you get into a habit of unattaching from the script because the script would like to take you somewhere you don't necessarily want to go to. So now it's time for you to use intention to choose which film reel, which script unfolds for you in your life. Okay? So what intention does is it takes that new film reel and it inserts it. So now you're shifting, the frequency of your thought and feeling is shifting to another corresponding reality. Even though you're in your current reality, you're now making the possibility for you to shift this script to kind of divert and lead to that parallel reality. Okay? And intention is simply the resolve in your decision to have and to act. When you say, I'm going to have this because I've made the decision to have it. I'm just going to go and do this. To have and to act. So it's kind of like making a sandwich. If you would like to make a sandwich, you simply say, I'm going to have a sandwich. And then you go to your fridge and you do what's necessary to make the sandwich. Decision to have and to act. There is complete resolve in your decision to have and act. What if we could have the same level of resolve in our goals that we want to create? If you want to manifest $20,000, $30,000 a month in your business and you simply say, you know what? I'm going to have a $30,000 a month business and I'm just going to go ahead and do what's necessary. But wait, how? When? What's happening here? How come you don't say how and when you're going to make a sandwich? Because the complexity of making a sandwich is relatively low compared to the complexity of making $20,000, $30,000 a month when you're not even remotely close to it, right? That lifeline is further ahead, so the complexity creates more space for doubts to creep in. So it's very, very crucial you do not let that happen. You simply stay with your decision. You simply admit to yourself, I don't know how it's going to happen and I don't know when it's going to happen, but I've made the decision and I'm going to have it. And I will do whatever is necessary on my end when the instruction becomes available to me. I remember reading Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, where he has this mantra which says, I will wait further instructions when the time is right. And as soon as I receive them, I will act on them. So the goal for you, if you do not know how you're going to get out of your job to your business or how you're going to grow your business, if you don't know how, just stay patient with the what, why, and who. Stay frosty because it's going to come. When you're ready to receive it, when you've built up enough of that good energy bucket. You're filling up one side of the energy bucket by focusing on what you want, why you want, and who you must become to achieve it. That's what I did. When I started, I visualized having a mansion in LA, driving a red Ferrari, waking up next to the partner of my dreams, when I had none of those things. But I visualized it every single night, every morning I woke up. Lo and behold, one thing led to another. I met friends who were running YouTube channels and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should start a YouTube channel. I started a YouTube channel and it grew, and then someone reached out to me for coaching and I was like, oh, I didn't know I could sell coaching. And then it led me to that, right? So all of these things just came together naturally. It is going to feel so natural, you're going to be mind-boggled. How easy it's going to be for you to get to your goals, it's going to be ridiculous because all you're doing is staying in alignment. Stay in alignment and stay patient. Trust that when the time is right, it's going to be revealed to you. But what do you do instead? When it doesn't happen in the time limit, I've been focusing on it for 6 months. I've been thinking about it for 8 months. I've been thinking about it for a year. I've been visualizing it. I visualized it for 2 years. For some people, it might be longer. For some people, it might be shorter. Just make the decision to have what, why, and who, and do what you can in the meantime. Just keep momentum. Just expand your comfort zone daily. Do things that are outside of your comfort zone. For me, starting up a YouTube channel was completely outside of my comfort zone. I did a lot of other things that were outside of my comfort zone. Every single day was expanding my comfort zone. My next edge. For some people who are so accustomed to doing their morning routines and fucking waking up at 5 a.m., sleeping in is uncomfortable, right? Taking the day off is uncomfortable. You have to know where your next edge is. You have to know what is uncomfortable for you. And you're going to have the discernment to know if you simply trust yourself and your heart and your intuition. Okay? Stop trying to follow all these fucking gurus online who are telling you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Learn to think for yourself. To become a true creator of your reality, you need to learn to think for yourself. Don't let others think for you. This is why you're living the script that you are, where you're experiencing what you don't want. Your heart's not in alignment with what you're experiencing because someone has told you these stories when you're a kid and you decided to believe them. You decided to believe them when they said you have to go to a 9 to 5 and earn enough money to fight your way and earn your place under the sun. You believe these stories and you've told yourself these stories when they're not your stories. The stories you tell yourself should be the ones that feed your heart. Okay? So, my rant is now over. The final thing I want to share with you is understanding attachment. So, when you're in the state of pure intention, are you attached to anything? When you make a sandwich, are you attached to making a sandwich? Meaning, do you care if you don't have the ingredients in your fridge? No, not a big deal. I'll just order it, or I'll just make something else. Or I'll just go out and get some more food. Not a big deal, right? Well, what if your goals could be like that? Oh, if I don't reach this goal, oh no, my life will be a failure. Everything I worked for will be a failure. Who cares? Not a big deal. If it doesn't happen, then it wasn't meant for me. If it doesn't happen this year, it wasn't meant for me. If it doesn't happen next month, it wasn't meant for me. What if we could have that attitude? Because guess what? When you do have that attitude, there is no attachment to the outcome. What happens? You're not resisting. Most of your intention energy isn't going to resisting failure, right? Because if you're resisting failure, you can't focus on becoming successful because you're thinking about protect at all costs. He who has nothing to lose has everything to gain. I want you to remember that. When you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. The best times in my life when I've created the best things, it was when I didn't have anything to lose. I didn't give a fuck. Okay? So you have to get to that state of, I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm not attached to this. I don't give a shit. If it happens, great. If not, even better. Something was better. Something better was meant for me. Okay? The keys I want to leave you off with that is going to make this very, very applicable to you is, number one, your job is not to change the script. It's to simply choose the frame that you would like to experience. AKA, don't try to change your current reality. If something is happening right now that you don't like, great. Maybe this is how it was supposed to happen. Maybe reality's clearing the path for me to create what I want. How do you know? How are you supposed to know? Are you more intelligent than God? Are you more intelligent than the universe? Probably not. Maybe this failed relationship and the next failed relationship and the next failed relationship will lead you to having the fourth relationship that is an immense success that leads to, 40, 50 years, 60, 80 years until the day you die, a great marriage, so fulfilling. How do you know? I know of people who've had 7 failed businesses and the 8th one was the one that made them really, really successful, right? Along that line, a method that I've used for the last 7 years is what I like to call accept and redirect. If something is happening in your life right now that you don't like, you accept it, but you redirect it to what you would like to experience. My business is going to shit. I have no control over it. Fuck it, let it burn. I completely accept it. What do I want instead? I would like to have a successful business, right? Simple as that. My marriage is going to shit, my health is going to shit, my finances are going to shit. Fuck it. Something's going to show up. This is what I want. This is what I want. Always the focus is on what I want. I'm not wasting any energy resisting what is. I'm just completely accepting it. Change comes from a place of deep acceptance, from a place of deeply looking at, unashamed, being completely naked to all of your shortcomings, becoming completely vulnerable to it. That's when change begins. Change begins when you can confront the darkest, deepest parts of you. Not when you're trying to run away from it and you're like, no, I don't want it. No. It's when you're no longer afraid. You're no longer afraid of that. And you look at dead in the eyes. That's when the possibility for change even exists. Okay? When you try to control every little thing in life, you're constantly battling with the universe. Your job is to simply make the order and stay patient. And the more you can be consistent with that one order and not try to flip-flop and change it, the higher the likelihood that you will shift to that lifeline. So what I mean by that is a lot of people, set this goal of making money, whatever, and then their lives go to shit. And we see this with our clients too. Around week 3 or week 4 of our program, people go through this coordination period. They're like, oh no, what have I done? I've made this intention and now everything is going to shit. That's going to happen. That's the clearing period. Most people don't know how to properly deal with those, how to coordinate through those. We call this coordination, okay? How to coordinate through those periods so their intention becomes a counter-intention. They start to make all of these counter-intentions where they're like, oh, I want to get away from this. I want to get away from this. I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to fall apart. Let it fall apart. Focus on what you want. It's again along those lines. Your job is to stay consistent with the order that you've made. And if getting to your dream life means clearing all of the skeletons out of your closet and having some things burn, let it burn. Let it all burn. This is the great burning. Something great is coming out of the ashes. This reminds me, it's kind of like getting a haircut. When you get a haircut, in the middle of it, you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, what the fuck? I look hideous. I look hideous. I look atrocious. But it's not done yet. So in the middle, what you do is you tell the barber like, oh, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't. Then you give the barber 1,000 different orders and they're like, what the fuck? They, malfunction and they actually do mess up your hair because they had a vision for your hair and how it would look like. If you had just trusted, you'd probably get something really good. So I went from being obsessively controlling of how my haircut turns out to being like, hey, do this, this, and this. And I make a judgment at the end. I let them finish their job and then I make a judgment. Never in the middle. Let God do his job. You're in there for the ride. Just observe. Just witness. God will take you to better places than you could have ever imagined. My life over the last 8 years, ever since I've started to implement all this stuff I'm sharing with you on the channel, it has turned out to be beyond my wildest dreams. By age 27, I've made multiple millions. I have 2 houses. I have everything taken care of. I have a wife. I have an 8-month-old baby. My life is perfect. It's amazing. It's beyond my wildest imagination. And it could only be this way because I got out of the way. I just placed the order, got out of the way. Okay? That's what I want possible for you. But it can only happen if you follow this principle. These principles that I lay out for you. These are just timeless principles. Learn to coordinate correctly. Stop getting in the way. Make the intention. Control, center your attention. Don't get so phased by what's going on right now. I want to share with you a client who recently just did this. 2 clients actually. One of my clients, Renee, she posted today, she was supposed to resign today from her corporate to begin her life of full-time entrepreneurship. When she started her job, she gave herself a deadline of 2 years to make it real. Luckily, life had better plans. She was laid off last November, and now she can say with confidence that that was the best thing that could have happened to me. I forgot I had put this resignation goal on my calendar, and it popped up today on my phone, and I smirked. Writing this today from Bulgaria while creating a business I love with friends I love. How great is that? Laid off from a job, she's not even phased. She's created the business that she loves. Another one of my clients, Vishaka, she quit her toxic job, and out of my toxic job, finally, new exciting things ahead. In Feb, when I joined Reality Mastery, I was a bit in victim mindset about my job, which I absolutely hated. I wanted to quit, but I had no idea how I would do it as my visa was dependent on it. At the time, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. I had my dream life each day as working on my own business in a cute cafe doing what I love. Fast forward to June, I finally took the leap and quit the job. And yesterday was my last day of the job and I felt so empowered, which I can't describe in words. I'm also grateful and want to share that I've already projects lined up for the next few months, so I feel relaxed and I'm focusing on this new chapter in my life. All of this could have happened by adhering to these principles, of which there are 4. Awareness, clarity, creation, and coordination. Coordination we talked a bit about. What I've done is I've made a short video right here explaining these 4 pillars in complete detail. All you need to do is click right here to access it. It's unlisted, by the way. It's not available for anyone to view publicly, only for you as you watch this video and as you've probably stuck around to the end of this video. So I know you're going to be committed to this process. So go ahead and click on this to access it right now. And I'll see you in this next video. Thanks.